Hey amiga, what is up and welcome back to my channel. It is your girl Jennyfer Ross, back at it again with yet another video. Today's video, as you have probably seen by the title, is going to be a story time. Me spilling some tea on all the jobs where I worked. And trust me amiga, trust me, there have been quite some jobs. So you might want to get yourself a snack and a drink. And if you are new to my channel, amics, then make sure you subscribe. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up because that helps me out a lot. It helps this video reach a lot of people. So please give this video a thumbs up and let's just go ahead and get into this video. So first things first, I want to start off with a little disclaimer. I want to say that I don't mean to say anything bad or put any workplace where I worked before in a bad lighting. The point of this video is to share with you that some of us just need to work very, very hard. It's not easy for everybody. Sometimes you just need to do a whole bunch of shitty jobs or jobs that you don't like before you can actually achieve your goal and do the job that you actually want. So I'm really happy with my current job. I'm really happy that I'm doing YouTube on the side and I'm in a very, very happy place, but it's just not always been like this. There were times in which I just questioned myself, questioned my happiness in the jobs that I was doing. I wasn't happy. I didn't feel like waking up and going to my job, you know, those type of things. And I know tomorrow is another week, and I just want you to know that if you are doing a job that you don't want to go, when your alarm clock goes off at 6 o'clock and you feel like, oh my god, shit, do I really need this? Then know that one day it will be better. You will get the job that you eventually deserve. So just keep going, because believe me, I have been there. I have been there. Other than that, I also want to say that I come from a very hard working family. So I always looked up to the people in my family, but especially my mother, because she was a single parent. She raised me all by herself. This woman was always working multiple jobs and always made sure that I didn't come short on anything. So mom, if you're watching this, then thank you. Thank you, because it definitely showed me that it's not easy. It's not always easy, but she did it, and so did I, and so can you. So yes, and just props to my family in general, because everybody in my family is working pretty hard. Everybody has multiple jobs or were at a point in their life where they had multiple jobs. They did what they had to do to raise their children. And yes, I just have so much respect for you, fam. So yeah, I just want to tell this story from the top of my head. I'm gonna try to remember as much jobs as possible, because believe me girl, I've done so many jobs. Like, it's crazy how many jobs I've done in my life. It's ridiculous. So my first job that I did was in the summertime, when we had our summer break. And what the job was is plucking and packing up tomatoes. It was just at a local farmer close to the town where I used to live, and a few friends of mine that were basically the same age, they would go like in the summer and pluck tomatoes from 6 o'clock till 12 o'clock. The job was pretty far. We had to go by bike, and it was like an hour biking. So I had to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, be ready at 5, and start biking at 6. So that is pretty crazy if you ask me. And now you can ask yourself, like, why didn't your mom bring you, or one of the other people's moms? I grew up in a very safe town. Everybody watched each other's children, so there weren't crazy things going on. We were in a big group with multiple people of my age, my friends, so it wasn't that crazy and dangerous at that time. Right now, if I have a daughter from that age, I'm not 100% sure that I would let her do that. I would probably bring her. And I also must say that one time I caught my mom like spying on us. She was like driving secretly behind us to just make sure that we got there. I don't know how many times she did that, but I know she did that one time. But anyways, back to the story. So that was my first job. It was really fun. I didn't even see it as actual working because I was with my friends. We were plucking tomatoes. We were talking about like the bike ride back home. We were talking about the fun things that we would do when we would receive our money. The money, I'm not 100% sure if the farmer paid taxes though, because we would receive our 25 euros cash every after each shift. So I'm not 100% sure about that, but anyways, when I got back home, I would save up some of that money, and the rest of it I would just use to just spoil myself. And that basically meant just go to the mall and buy myself some candy or some snacks or whatever. But like, it wasn't a whole lot of money, but it felt like I was the shit. Seriously, believe me, I felt amazing. It felt just great to just have my money. And then when the summer break was over, I didn't have to ask my mom like, Mom, can I have like 5 euros to buy a snack at school? I had my own money, and there was no better feeling in the world than that, you know? So that's how it started for me. I did that, I think, for 2 summers, and then I wasn't too old, but I just wasn't feeling that anymore. And I also reached the age in which I could do a job at a supermarket. So that's what I basically did. And this job was just on Saturdays. Everything went pretty well. I really liked the job. The only thing is I'm not very good at math. So I was a little concerned about like giving people too much change. But my mom learned me this little trick. I think everybody and their mama knows about this trick, that you need to count back the cash to the amount that they paid with so that you cannot make any mistakes. So that's what I was always doing. And it went well for, I think, about 4 months. Then all of a sudden, after 4 months, like little amounts start to disappear from my register. And it was nothing too serious, but it was like, sometimes it was 5 euros, sometimes it was 3 euros. It was never more than 10 euros. So I didn't feel too good about it, because I was like, okay, did I give people too much change, or like what did I do wrong? So I was just making sure that I was always like on top of it to give people the correct change, and still there was money missing from my register. So I've always been a little detective like that. So I started to like observe on the person who was counting my register at the end of the day. And sometimes I would ask her if I could stand there and count it with her. Sometimes she would let me, and every time that she would let me, it was correct. But every time that she did it alone, because sometimes she would just shoo me away, like tell me to go clean up the register and things like that, you know. And every time that she would do it alone, amounts of money were missing. Then I felt really concerned about it, because this may sound stupid, but I'm a person of color. I was the only girl of color working there. So I didn't want people to think that I was stealing or anything. They never threatened me that they would take it down off my paycheck or anything, but it just didn't make me feel good. So I was talking to my mom about it. My mom didn't take it too serious. I discovered by myself that this lady basically always was talking about like coming short on money for her household. She didn't have money to buy cigarettes and things like that. And it was really weird, because I felt like, those are like the exact amount of money that are missing from my register you can basically use to buy cigarettes or whatever. So that didn't sit quite right with me, but I decided to quit the job. The manager of the store, he was really upset with me leaving, of course, because I'm very young, so I don't cost him too much of money paycheck wise. So he was really upset with that. But I decided to quit because I just couldn't take it anymore. I just didn't feel right with every time money missing from my register and stuff. I just didn't feel good. So I quit the job. I was 15 years old with no job. So I decided to go to another supermarket in my town. And this, I just think it's so... I'm so proud of myself for doing this, because I remember I wrote a motivation letter of shit. I basically wrote like, hey ma'am or sir, my name is Jennifer, I'm 15 years old and I am looking for a job. I prefer to not do a job at the register, but anywhere else in your store you can put me to do the job. And I got a phone call. I was invited to come and do a job interview, and they decided to hire me. They told me like they had a spot at the bakery that morning, but that spot is no longer free because somebody else got it, but he still has a spot at the fish counter, and it was also like a takeaway counter, so you can like compose like different type of meals for the clients. So I was like, okay, yes, I'm gonna take it. He told me like, girl, this is not gonna be anything glamorous though. Your clothing, it might stink. I told him like, yeah, well, that's fine because I have water and soap at home. So I was like, just like this girl that was like, I was unstoppable. So I took the job. I had so much fun, you guys. Like, people in my town would make fun of me. Some people from my school would come. They would make fun of me. I don't even know what their problem was, but I was like, you know what? Laugh at me, do whatever you want, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna get my coin. So I was just basically doing my job. I couldn't care 2 cents about what anyone else thought of me. Then, unfortunately, I had to quit that job when I was 18 because when I was 18, I moved to Amsterdam. But I did do that job for 3 years. I did it from 15 till 18. So I think that's pretty good. So once in Amsterdam, school had my first priority because I had to focus on school. That was the point of me being there. But still, at the same time, I wanted some extra money to just be able to live my student life, to do fun things with my friends, you know, basically just live life as good as it was. So I heard some people in my school talking about call centers. So I applied for a job in a call center and I got the job. My job basically consisted of calling people, harassing them with all types of products that they didn't need, or sell like charity type of subscription, basically just collecting donations, and most of the time structural, whoa, is that the word? Structural, I hope that's how you pronounce it. Structural donations, like monthly, every 2 months, things like that. To be honest with you, I didn't quite like this because I'm a very outgoing and very bubbly person. I just like to talk and see people and like talk to people that I see right in front of me, and I don't know how to convince you if it's just my voice. So I didn't quite like it, but I was like, okay, this is the only thing that I can get. And also in Amsterdam, the work market was pretty much saturated. So it was very, very hard to get a job. So eventually I did that for a few months, but I never really liked the job, and I basically hated my life because I was doing something that I really didn't like to do. I remember on a Saturday I went to my little job and I wasn't feeling it at all. When the alarm clock went off, I was like, oh my god, no. Called my first client, and this lady, she picked up the phone, and I said like, hey, it's Jennifer from la 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 la, and and she was like, hold on, stop. And I was like, okay. And then she told me like, Lily, your job sucks, okay? Your job sucks. My child was crying, I was bathing my little toddler, and now you're calling me and disturbing me. Your job really, really sucks. And then she hung up. I took my headset, I dropped it on my desk, I went to the supervisor and I told him, you know what, I'm quitting this shit. I cannot do this no longer. I hate this. So I quit it. I quit that job. I went home. I didn't feel bad about it at all. I just went home because I didn't feel like it anymore. Like, I understand that lady because she was totally right. I don't appreciate it either if people call me when I'm chilling and try to sell me all type of things that I don't need or that I don't want to spend my money on. Like, I totally get it, and I was like, you know what, no hard feelings, but this ain't for me, man. This just ain't for me. This ain't it. So I went home. I just quit that job. After this, I didn't have a job for a while because I wasn't feeling it. I had to focus on school. And then I also had to do an internship for school. It was basically like an internship of like, I think a week or something. After my internship, they asked me if I wanted to come every Saturday to work there just on the Saturdays, and I said yes. But to be honest with you, this wasn't also quite my thing, because I just noticed that we're located in a little mall. People come on Saturdays, like walk past you, they go to do their groceries, maybe they're just going shopping, but not a whole lot of people just walking like, let's just book a trip today. Like, that just doesn't happen as much, or at least it didn't happen as much back at that time, you know? So I was really bored just sitting there. And what I also noticed is just colleagues would just always talk trash about other colleagues, especially if Lucy is not around, we're gonna talk bad about Lucy, and when Susie's not around, we're gonna talk bad about Susie. And I was just not feeling that. I was just sitting there like, what the hell am I doing with my life? I'm only 18. What the hell am I doing? So I had to say bye-bye to that job as well. But then my second internship came around from, you know, the same studies. And this time I got to be a ground handler at an airline. So after this, they asked me again if I wanted to stay, and I said yes, because I loved that internship, and that was the best job ever. So I was just a ground handler. I had to check in people. I had to bring like the elderly people, or people, infants and stuff. I had to bring them to the gate or guide them to the gate. I had to check them in, board them, like things like that. And it was really fun. I really enjoyed doing this on the side. So I did this for I think about 2 years. Yes, I did this about 2 years, and I really enjoyed it. So this was the best job during that time. Oh, my boyfriend is being so loud. No respect. So in my final year, I had to do an internship for a whole year, and I decided to do this in Curacao because I was born there, but I've never lived there, and I really wanted to experience Curacao for everything that it's known for. So I decided to choose 2 internships on my little island. The first one was at a hotel, and basically what I had to do is check in people, check out people, like all those things that comes with that. And I also did shifts in entertainment, which meant that I needed to organize trips, like execute the trips, like guide the tourists and stuff like that, and sometimes went snorkeling. It was just a whole bunch of things, but like also sell trips to the people that come to stay in the hotel. It was like a blur because it went so fast. And then the second 6 months came. So I had to do my second internship. This was at an airline, and I was really excited to do this because it was basically the same thing that I was doing as a side job in Holland. So I was really happy about this, but things didn't quite go as I wanted them to, because can I really get into this? Yeah, I'm gonna get into this. So basically from day one, I had this supervisor slash manager. He was also the one that had to decide whether I would pass the internship or whether I would fail the internship. So basically I felt like my destiny is a little bit in his hand, but he was super flirty, always trying to get in all the ladies' pants, and you know what I mean. So this was a very uncomfortable situation. You need to keep in mind, I'm only 19, and here I am doing this, you know. I was really young, and I was too young to be dealing with all of this, but I had to deal with it because I had to. So he would always make sexual remarks about my body, about my shape, about anything, you know. And like if something fell on the floor and you grabbed it, and he would be like, oh, why did you like bend over like that? And you know, things very sexual. And I remember that we had like this uniform you could wear, you could choose, because you got both options, but you had the option to wear a pant and you had the option to wear a skirt. I most of the time wore the skirt because the skirt was just like a little more loose fitting and you couldn't completely see my shape. So I preferred that over the pant. But then one day I forgot to wash my uniform in time and I had to wear the pants. So I came to work, but people were so used to see me always wearing the skirt that it was like, oh, but everybody was like, oh, you're wearing pants today. Like, oh, that looks so good on you, la la la. And of course, this nasty little maniac had to say something about like, oh my God, you have such a nice behind and things. And I was like, and he did that in front of all the other employees. So I was like, okay, you know what? Today, I'm not having it, man. I'm really not. So I was like, you know what? What are we gonna call him? We don't even need to call him a name. I just told him like, you know what? You are really unprofessional. And if you make one more sexual remark towards me, I will definitely have to file a report for sexual harassment, and this is really not okay, okay? So calm your tits, because I ain't having this. And I was really scared. Like, he was still in charge of deciding whether I passed the internship or not. So I was a little concerned about that. By the time that I was finished, he was very professional about it, and of course I passed the internship because I was very good at my job. So I did what was asked from me, and he had basically no reason to fill me on that, so he didn't, luckily. Once back in Holland, I was graduated, so I could officially work as a flight attendant. I did that for a while. Things were not as I have always envisioned, and I discovered this, of course, when I started doing the job. I also found out that like the possibilities to grow in my job or like to have a higher function or whatever, they were limited. So I was like, I don't know if this is really what I want to do the rest of my life. So I think I did that for about a year, and then I decided to bring my booty back to school. At the end of the day, I do have a diploma to be able to do this job. I really wanted to do this job, but I was just like, okay, I need to go back to school now that I'm still young, now that I'm still able to observe everything school-wise. So I brought my booty back to school, and I made sure that if anything goes wrong, I could still go back to that job. So I went back to school. I started to do uni. And I did to study international business and languages. I chose these studies because I already did a whole lot of languages because of my tourism studies, but also I just speak a whole lot of languages in general since high school. I don't even know why, but like I speak a whole lot of languages. 6, I think. So I figured like, you know what, international business and languages is gonna be the best match. The employment market for students was very, very saturated. Everywhere they had a student working on Saturdays or during the weeks or evening hours. So there wasn't a whole lot for me to choose from. So I decided to register myself at an employment agency. I hope that's the word, but I think that's the word, an employment agency. They find jobs for you. Sometimes it may be something for just one day because somebody called in sick. Other days it may be a project for a whole week. And sometimes it's something for a month, or sometimes, you know, those type of things. So I ended up liking that so much because sometimes I got to like serve coffee to the elderly in an elderly home, and yeah, like play bingo with them. And then I was also sometimes a barista in a museum. So this was really, really fun. I enjoyed this. I enjoyed like really working with people and like showing my personality, and just I really enjoyed that. Like basically it was a different thing every single time. Anyways, somewhere in between I also got a job at a meatery. I used to do that every Saturday. That was really fun. It also taught me a whole lot about meat, and there are a whole lot of meats that I don't eat anymore ever since I worked there. yeah. So then after a while I got a job as a cleaning lady in a hospital. I had to clean the surgery rooms. I had to clean like the yard where all the ward I think, where all the patients are laying, things like that. To be honest with you, the patients were also always very, very nice. They were always like talking to you and like really showing interest. But the nurses who worked there, they were really not so friendly. They would always look down on you like you're some stupid, crazy cleaning lady. You're just a cleaning lady, things like that. And I would always just basically just laugh because I was like, you know what, lady nurse. I don't mean to offend any nurse or anything, but that's just how it went where I worked, and that's how I experienced it. Like, people would really look down on me. Never judge anyone because of a job that they do, because we are not defined by the job that we do. Nobody knows why you're doing what you're doing, okay? So that's that. I ended up quitting that job after a while because I was doing multiple jobs at the same time. I still was taking shifts from the employment agency. I was working as a cleaning lady, and I was also taking some shifts at a housing corporation where people just came to pay the rent. It was like basically social rent. So I was doing like a whole bunch of shit at the same time. And then there was this morning that it was Saturday, I think. I didn't have anything on my schedule. And I remember that I didn't set an alarm clock because of course I have the day off. So I woke up and I was like, and I was like, oh my god, what day is it? Where do I need to be? And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm taking way too much up on my sleeve as I should be doing. So no. So I had to call it quits with the employment agency. I had to call it quits with the cleaning job because it was becoming way too much. And also, I'm just a student. How much money do I actually need, you know? So I was like, you know what? No, we're just gonna stick to one job and school because that's the most important thing. It's still the point that we graduate at some point. So I quit all those jobs. Don't take too much shit on your plate, and you need to take care of yourself. You know, you need to take care of your mental health. You need to rest enough. Working hard doesn't mean kill yourself by doing 100 jobs that at a certain point you don't even remember where you need to be at what time. Like, that's just crazy. So I was thinking, I think I skipped a whole lot of jobs. Because the other day I like wrote down all the jobs that I've done and I noticed that I forgot a whole lot. I have a job where I was working in a clothing store and shoplifters came and I went and snitched on the shoplifters, and eventually they just came for me. They beat me up. If you want to see that video, make sure you click right up here. But basically you get the point, I think. There are so many jobs that I didn't mention in this video because we will be here till next week, I think, if I have to tell you about all the jobs that I've done. So eventually we moved to Belgium because I was graduated from uni. I couldn't find a job and we decided to just move here, try our luck elsewhere. Right now I do the best job ever. I work in social media. I do YouTube on the side, and I'm really, really happy with where I am right now, with what I achieved. When I look back, it was a crazy road, but I'm super, super happy that I am where I am. And the moments where my alarm clock would go off and I would literally hate my life and like ask myself what the hell I was doing, those weren't fun at all. But I'm just happy that I pushed through and that I did what I did, because now I can really enjoy what I'm doing. So I think we're gonna slowly wrap up this video, but I was definitely depressed at some point where I had to do things that I really, really didn't like and that went against my nature. So if you're doing a job that doesn't make you happy, you're basically miserable, then take control. I don't say like quit your job and not being able to pay your rent. Of course, find something first that matches you. But I think as an employer, I think the employer also wants somebody that wants to do the job and likes to do the job. I think it's just a win-win situation if that is the case. But if it doesn't make you happy, then quit it, honey. And also, if you just quit on nice terms, be respectful about it, like sit out the time that you need to sit out, then I don't think there's anything wrong with it. At the end of the day, you're choosing your happiness. And by doing this, you will never, ever, ever, ever have to work a day again in your life. Okay? So yes, before we close off, I do want to shout out the comment of the day. Today's comment of the day goes to Coco Girl. And her comment says, it's a yes for me. More please, yes ma'am. And if you don't know what she's talking about my previous video. That is a lookbook. You can click right up here to watch it, in which I styled one jeans in 5 different ways. It's a very helpful video to my ladies out there because it will make you look cute without breaking the bank, okay? And it's totally fine to repeat outfits, so go check that out if you want to. But Coco Girl, thank you so much for leaving me this nice comment. There are definitely more lookbooks coming your way, so stay tuned for those. Thank you to all of you who made it up to this point. Thank you for hanging out with me, and I hope to see you soon in my next video. Mwah. Bye, Amiga!